Morning, everybody. It's 8:53 on Monday, the 27th, a new week, and the last week of November. And even I am footballed out. So many games, and a lot of them actually really crappy. Okay, chart on the screen is the bonds, and they are up a half a point, 16.30 seconds. I put this up for what I think is a pretty important reason. We got right back into this 116 and a half area, which is where we had the most recent break to the downside that carried from 116 and a half all the way down to 107. So we've moved back up, and the divergences are what I'm looking at. And frankly, in doing the letter over the weekend, I there are a bunch of charts that I noticed that I discussed the divergences with, and this is just one of them. So we came down, try and ignore today's line. We came down off that flattish top into the resistance. The relative strength looks like it's peaked up here, although 60 is a big number, but it's not a huge number. The other thing that it looks like here is we're going to have an MACD crossover back to the downside from a pretty overbought position. Um, we had this huge volume day on a very short range day. This is the 22nd, and that was, I guess, Wednesday. So, short range day, big volume, no real activity, and then this break. So, let's look at the break. The break seems to have held where it should have and has moved back up on the day. Um, I'm just not impressed with it. Everybody who was talking about how it was going lower in here are now talking about how it's going higher. And as usual, I will repoint out that when everybody's on one side of the boat, either have your life jacket on or at least move to the other side. So I find this kind of interesting. If we get a little closer to 116, I might buy the TBT. We haven't traded that in a really long time. Okay, excuse me. The only economic news this morning is at 10 o'clock. It's new home sales, and so what? There's plenty of information coming for the rest of the week, so we'll have to see how that comes out. Halima Croft was on this morning at 8:35. If you can rewind, she's very impressive. She's my favorite oil analyst, but more importantly, she explained the significance of the OPEC Plus meeting, and that is that these countries are on a razor's edge here as far as balance goes. The problem is that as the Saudis cut or hold production rates down, it gives other non OPEC countries, us included, the ability to increase their market share by keeping prices high. We also have Iran, which in this past year, regardless of sanctions, has been able to increase production. The focus, though, Halima says, is that it's the African countries, specifically Nigeria and Angola, who are asking to get um, their production increased. So, like I said, the Saudis don't want to lose their position as far as annual production in the group, but at the same time, they also don't want to allow others to gain market share. So it's a pretty interesting argument, makes all the sense in the world, and it explains why we had so much action to the downside last week on the news of the delay of the OPEC meeting. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of other things. As I said, there's not much news, but Amazon says that their delivery business, according to the Wall Street Journal, is now ahead of UPS and FedEx. So that's kind of interesting. Upgrades and downgrades. We have Foot Locker being downgraded to sell from neutral at Citi. The stock is 22.38. That's down 94 cents or 4%. Remember that when they were uh, upgraded and when they had their earnings, not this past earnings, but the one before, the stock moved 40%. Graphic packaging also downgraded. Market performed from strong buy at Raymond James, only down 19 cents at 22.63. Mondelez upgraded to outperform from sector perform at RBC. That may help our ConAgra position. And last but not least, one of my favorite stocks written up every single week in the letter, Teva Pharmaceuticals, trading at 9.79, up 24 cents or about 2.4%, being upgraded from neutral to buy at UBS. Asia and Europe are slightly lower as far as stock futures go. We have the Dow down 45, Nasdaq down 22, and the S&P down about $7. And then there's a little one before I go. THAR. I can't find any real news on it, but the stock closed at, let's see, 288 on Friday, and that was after a 1 for 25 reverse. This morning, it's been as high as 535. The last is 453, and that's up $1.66 or 57%. So we'll have to see if any news pops up on that. It's called Theramune, so it may have test results, or it may just be up because of the lack of supply of stock based on that 1 for 25. It also gives that company a little bit of a boost, but as I said, last week it was 1 for 25 reversed, which means that its new all-time high is 106. So 106 down to $5, basically, down 95% overall. All right, folks, that's it. And I'll be back later. Hope everyone had a great holiday.